Welcome back, everybody, to Empyrion Galactic Survival on version 1.1.6. I'm an old guy gaming, and in this episode, we're going to take the Horizon up to the moon and get ourselves a bunch of Promethium. So I have spent a lot of time off of camera getting the Horizon retrofitted, and I think I've got her to a place that's going to work well for us while she still is a Tier 2 ship. We are working, of course, to get her up to Tier 3, but I don't have the resources yet to make that happen, and so we're going to, get by with Tier 2 until we can go to Tier 3, but I'm pretty pleased with, how she's come together so far. Oh boy, where to begin? I've done so much on this ship. The first thing is that I decided to put these two RCSs back in, but the reason I have them sitting right here is so that I can very quickly and easily pick them back up if I need to. So right now, we are still under the CPU limit, so we're doing fine. But I have two configurations for our two-tier version of this ship. Basically, right now, she has... Let me press the right button here. Right now, she has 4 turrets mounted. They're all miniguns at the moment. So we've got 3 up on top, as you can see here, and then I also have mounted one underneath as well. Okay, but I also have inside of the Horizon, let's go here, I have an additional 6 projectile turrets as well and some spare blocks. And so I've played around with an alternate configuration that will attach blocks to this little, this is almost like a hard point, and then kind of come out and provide, more attachments for additional guns. And the idea is that when we're about to attack a POI, we'll mount the extra guns to attack the POI, but we won't keep those guns on all of the time. When we do that, we're going to have to probably remove at least one of those RCSs down below so that we still, stay within the CPU limit. And again, this is all just temporary until we can get the ship upgraded to Tier 3. Okay, so that's what that's about. I did want to... Hold on a second. I was getting ready to start some ammo in the base when I got attacked by the Xerix. It was just one troop transport. We took them out. We got a little bit extra fuel and some other stuff like that from them. So it was nothing major, but I didn't actually start my ammo. So let's go back to the base input. We'll connect to the constructor, and I just want to queue up a bunch of 15 mil bullets. So let's do... No, not 100. Good lord. That's way too many. Let's do, I don't know, maybe that many. But we're also going to need some cannons or some 30 mil bullets, because when we attack the POIs, I'm actually going to use cannons and not miniguns because they pack a little bit more punch. So basically the idea is, use 15 mils for drones and 30 mils for attacking POIs. And so let's get some of those cooking up too, so that we can have them ready for us. We might try to do a POI in this episode if we have time. We'll have to wait and see. But my first priority right now is to get a good supply of fuel, both Promethium and Pentaxid for our vessel. So currently we have in, let's see, let's take a look here. No, not Mountain Base. We want Horizon. So currently I've got 46 Pentaxid in the tank there, and then I have 75 raw, a little more Promethium, and I currently have the constructor working on making large packs and also making more Promethium for us. Okay, so changes. What have we done to this ship? We've done a lot to this ship. So let's start with the back here, I guess. I made some changes along the top here because I don't know if you guys remember, but this wasn't actually sealed in this spot. And so I went ahead and sealed it so that we can have a pressurized docking bay. I just wanted to do that, just it wasn't super essential but it's something I did want to do. So, oh, you know, another thing I'm going to try and do too is I'm going to try and figure out some place on this ship to fit a gravity generator. I don't actually have... Wait, do I have the resources to make a grav generator? My constructor was being a little bit buggy yesterday when I was on, and it was telling me I had the resources for stuff, but it wasn't letting me actually make that stuff. And stuff, you know, that I actually can make in terms of knowing the skill for it. So let's go to here and here. Yeah, see, this is weird. I don't understand this. It says I have the resources down below to make a gravity generator, but it's red. And, you know, I know it because if I didn't know it, it would be locked. So I don't understand what the hell's going on with that. I mean, it should, you know, in this case, I can't make this because it shows in red text in the tooltip that I can't make those items. I don't have the resources for them. But in this case, I should be able to make all of those items, but it won't let me make it. I wonder now that, excuse me, I wonder now that I think about it, does it have something to do with not enough space in the output? But usually, that might be it now that I think about it. So this is 32 tons. All right, what we might need to do, I mean, I need to actually put controllers in anyways. We're really kind of at the point where we need to do that. So, you know, it's on the to-do list. We still need to finish the garden back here. I have been putting some plots in our living quarters, so that's still on the to-do list. But my focus over the last several episodes, of course, have been getting our capital vessel going. So anyway, I totally got sidetracked there. Sorry about that. But all that to say, I am going to see if I can go ahead and fit a grav generator in here too. And we should be able to do it. I mean, we could even potentially put it in this corner, you know, over here possibly. So I'll look into that. Excuse me. All right, so yeah, so as far as, you know, changes to the hull, we changed this here, got this all sealed up. So now we do have a pressurized docking bay, which is good. I made a couple changes to the pipes out here because if you guys remember, there was an actual generator, one of the small generators in there on both sides. So we fixed that up. And this is what the bottom of the ship looks like now. Everything got all patched up up inside of there. So it's all sealed. And the front of the ship, the changes that I made were I added this like little hard point doohickey. And I changed the front end here. This was all open before. I added some blocks there so we had a mount, you know, for our cannon underneath. I went ahead and put a block in here because before this was another glass window to try and fix the problem with the radiation from the thrusters, but it still doesn't fix it. This controller is still too close, but it's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. As long as I'm not standing really close to it, I don't take radiation, so it's certainly something we can work with. On the top of the vessel, I put in a drone port, and, you know, these shutters are pretty weak, so I included some extra blocks around it that would, you know, give it a little bit more protection, at least from, you know, fire that might be coming in more at a flatter trajectory. If something came, you know, directly on it, then it's probably going to break, but there's not much I can do about that because the shutters don't come in a stronger version. They're all just kind of what they are. All right, let's see. For the most part, guys, I think that's it for the exterior hull of the ship for changes that I've made to it. Oh, I did make a change up here too. This was more of a kind of a squarish block, so I made that a little more angled just to kind of remove some of the blockiness. Okay, let's take a look at the interior changes now. So I didn't do anything at all in the hovercraft bay except for, like I said, just add those two RCSs. I'm not going to bother painting them because they're going to be picked back up again soon. And then nothing else new was done in here other than just kind of patching up these two holes that we made when we were pulling the smaller generators out. In here, I've got my armor locker, my O2 station, and my medical bay. And my plan is that when we can get into tier 3, I'm going to remove the blocks underneath these guys, and we'll put the extenders underneath them. And in doing so, I completely filled in the floor here, because I didn't like, you know, having those components down here and us having to walk over them, even though it worked. You know, we could put glass over them and all that. So now we have a solid floor, except for I did, you know, place the ventilator here. And so, yeah, the plan will be that we'll just take these 3 up, and there's another spot. I think the T2 is underneath here, if I remember right. Or it's underneath there. Anyway, there's room. There'll be room for both of the T3 extenders when the time comes. One of you suggested that I remove the shutter and put some force fields here instead, so I went ahead and did that. So that was a good suggestion. I don't remember who said that off the top of my head, but appreciate that. And I generally, you know, a lot of you actually left several suggestions, and I followed a lot of those. They were good suggestions. You know, stuff like, for example, don't put all the fuel tanks together, and don't put the fuel tanks next to the generators, because if they blow up, they'll blow up the generator. Stuff like that. So I did take a lot of that into account and tried to, you know, spread things out a little bit more, so, you know, all of our fuel tanks aren't in one place, and if they get blown up, then we're dead in the water, that sort of thing. We can ghost here in just a second too, and I'll show you where that stuff actually is. So yeah, I think that's really it. This is the drone, you know, the drone port from inside. For changes that we made in here, this is the normal constructor, because remember we took the advanced out to save CPU. When we go to tier 3, then we can put an advanced back in here. All right, in here we made some changes, not in this room, but in this room. So I added another extension on both sides, which increased, you know, our space, and moved the controllers forward. And then this is that block I was telling you about, you know, that I put in. But if I go, is it right here somewhere? I was still getting the radiation. I don't think the thrusters actually have to be turned on, but maybe I did fix it. I thought that I hadn't fixed it. Ah, okay. Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, let's just double check. Now that I think about it, I think what happened was it still hadn't been fixed, and so that's when I made the decision to pull everything forward a block, and then that did fix it. So, okay, it is fixed. So never mind. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's good, though. So yeah, this was another window here. And so, of course, it made the bridge a little smaller, but, you know, not a big deal. The one thing I did do, because this is a single-player game, is I had a couple of passenger seats here. I pulled those up and then just put some consoles, with the idea being that this is a controller, an actual, you know, console controller for, you know, this storage, and this is one for this storage, just, you know, make-believe stuff. And then put a couple more of the newer, you know, stations and so forth, and just to kind of give the, you know, the bridge a little pizzazz. If you guys, I will put this up on the workshops too, once I've had a chance to, you know, to use it a little bit and make any final changes. But if you guys wanted to use this on a multiplayer server, then you could just remove these consoles and put a couple passenger seats right there and be just fine. Okay, so I think that's it, guys, for the changes, the interior changes. Let's just go ahead and ghost for a second, and I'll kind of show you, you know, what things look like on the innards here. So let's see. Pretty much, you know, I either patched up all the holes from the small generators, or yeah, there's the extender, or I just filled them in with what we had before. So we basically have the same number of fuel tanks and O2 tanks that we started with on the ship. I put the wireless down there. This whole area was just jam-packed with fuel tanks before, and so again, I changed that so not all of the fuel tanks are all in the same place. So we got an O2 tank there, fuel tank here. So we do have one fuel tank next to this generator, but there's no fuel tanks at all next to this generator. So if that actually blew up and and caused us to lose this Jenny, we still have the second one. And even one of these T1 generators are still going to fly this ship. You know, it's going to be right on the verge, maybe a little bit over, but it's still enough to, you know, to get the ship out of trouble, that sort of thing. And then, yeah, then it's really just a matter of kind of patching in all of the holes that we made from removing the small Jennies with the same equipment that it had before. So I didn't add any more fuel tanks or any more O2 tanks. I don't think I did anyways, to the ship. I think that pretty much covers our changes. So, yeah, I don't think we did anything else other than all of that stuff that I just showed you, which was enough. It took me a few hours to, you know, to do all of that. So, excellent. All right, let's go ahead and get back out of God mode here. And let's take a look and see what's going on in here. So you should still... Oh, you're not making ammo anymore. Did you make all the ammo that I asked you to make? No, it won't be in there. It will be in here. Yep, it looks like you did. Okay, so let's transfer this to the Horizon. We have 80,000 storage units in our ammo controller, but because we have all those projectiles in there, you know, those are taking up quite a bit of space. Yeah, like a lot of space. But I want to keep these with us because, you know, we're going to need to fit them out in the field when we decide to take on a POI. If I left them at the base, I'd always have to come back to the base to do it, and I don't want to do that. So, you know, it is taking up quite a bit of space, but we still have, you know, we still have about 55,000 more space in addition to 16,000 here in the ore and wood controller. So we're okay for what this ship is. I think that's adequate for now. Okay, so we've got our ammunition for the Horizon, so we're doing good there. That should be enough to get us started. It is working on pentaxid, so let's go here and just transfer this over to the tank. And yeah, I think we can fit like 6 full stacks or something like that in there. So it's continuing to make pentaxid for us. It looks like it made all of the promethium that I wanted it to make. So let's just get that topped off, and then that will be our spare fuel. But that's the whole thing we're going to do anyway. We're going to go mine up a bunch of promethium on the moon. Okay, so before we do that, we need to also bring in our hover vessel. It's been sitting in the factory waiting for us to bring it in. So let's do that right now. This is my deluxe camo miner, and I use this a lot. It's a little janky looking just because, you know, I had to upgrade it to CPU, you know, tiers and that sort of thing. But it works pretty good. You know, it's got lasers on it. It's got a built-in turret there. And let's take a look at this. Oh my God, I thought that this is not ready to go. Damn it. Wow, okay. You know what, now that I think about it, oops, I think that I had upgraded this for weight and volume, but I didn't upgrade it for CPU. Son of a bitch. Alright, well, that means we can't use this until I fix it. I was not planning on doing that right now. I don't want to do that right now. I mean, it's so far over, it probably won't even power up at this point. Crap. Okay. Well, here's what I think I'm going to do. Here's what I think I'm going to do. We could take this back apart and feed all of the blocks from it back into the factory, and I could just bring my more basic version of the miner in. This one should work. This just has the you know, the mechanical drills on it, and it is 100% efficient. And then I guess this is something I'm going to have to work on later, and I might even actually do that in creative mode, off camera, of course. Yeah, doggone it. All right, well, right now we need a mining vessel. We have to have a mining vessel because we can't effectively go up to the moon and mine meteorites without one. You can mine it by hand, but it's nowhere near as efficient. It takes too long. So let's do this. Let's go to overflow 2's, or overflow's got 93 space. This has even more. What about output? Output has 6,000. Yeah, output's going to have the most room. So let's connect to output. Or you know what we could do, actually? We could actually connect to the ore and wood controller because it doesn't have anything in it. That way we'll be able to get directly to the blocks. And I'm going to actually pull this apart, you guys. I'm going to pull it apart whole and feed the parts into the factory so that we can probably insta-spawn the T1 version in and then still have some left over. And then I'll just rebuild this later. It's not super expensive, relatively speaking, and we'll go from there. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring you back, and we will head to the moon. You know, as I was taking that vessel apart too, I haven't used that vessel since I think Alpha 10 was the last time I actually used it. Maybe it was even, yeah, I think it was probably Alpha 10. And there's some other things about it that I would probably change too. So I don't know, we might end up rebuilding the whole damn thing and starting fresh, or maybe even building a whole new mining vessel. But anyway, that's for another day. Let's go ahead now and go to just our basic miner. And we'll send that to the factory. And right now it's at 50 minutes. So what we want to do is we probably better just simply load up the black light. Because a lot of that stuff we already have, and then it's going to not let me, not let me put it in there. So let's just do Blacklight T4 version, send that to the factory. Okay, and then we're going to go to here, and let's sort this by mass. I might hang on to those for a moment, but let's grab all this other stuff. I mean, I even had a whole shield on there, and that sucker was taking up a lot of CPU. Excuse me. What it comes down to really is I think this mining vessel is probably a little bit overbuilt. Because it just doesn't need all that stuff. If its role is purely for mining, which it really is. It's not the kind of hover vessel, that I'm going to use for a long trip or, to go into combat with and that sort of thing. It's going to stay with the capital vessel and just be used to mine stuff. So it really is overbuilt, like big time. So I might just completely scrap this whole idea, this whole blueprint, really, and build something a little more efficient. Anyway, let's go ahead. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue loading all of this equipment except for the lasers into the factory, and then hopefully that will get us where we need to go in terms of or get us down to pretty much insta-spawn. All right, let's go back now to the basic camo miner and look at that in the... Whoop, sorry, I gotta send it to the factory. And, oh shit, okay, it only got it down to 22 minutes and 58 seconds. Doggone it. I figured that would have been enough to bring it in immediately. Apparently it isn't, though. Do I have anything else we could feed into Elf Factory? Not on the horizon. What do we have on the base? Oh, yeah, we could feed like these small generators in there. I don't have any use for those. Got another cockpit we could put in. We could put in the repulsor engines. Docking pad. Spotlights. Cargo boxes. The shutter. Windows. I might hang on to those windows. Okay, what about overflow? We have an extra O2 station, which we don't really need right now. A couple of thrusters. Okay, let's put these in and see what this does. So right now it's at 22 minutes, 58 seconds. Let's go back to the black light. Send that to the factory. And then see how much further we can get with all this stuff that I don't really need right now anyway. I mean, it's all useful, of course, but since space is kind of tight in our base anyway until we get the extensions put in. Put the force field in. We want to keep the T3 extender, of course. That's for our capital vessel. We can put those thrusters in. I think I'll leave the rest of that there. What about overflow 2? Pulse laser. I don't think I want that. Everything else I want to keep. This stuff we're going to sell, of course. So, excuse me. All right, let's put these in and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, go back to the library. Load the basic camo miner in. And that got us down to 6 minutes. Perfect. Okay. So let's go ahead and just start that, and by the time we get to the moon, it'll be ready to go. And I don't know how much. Let's go here. I don't know how much these are going to affect our CPU. They're 200 a pop, which isn't terrible. We could even, in anticipation of those pushing it over, which it probably will, we could even make a Tier 2 hovercraft CPU extender. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. And that way we can pop that on, and then hopefully that'll be enough to let us use the lasers instead of the mechanicals. Not that it matters a ton for asteroid mining, though. I mean, I'm sorry, for meteorite mining, but it'll help. It'll help some. Let's just pick our buds. The buds and the spice mature way faster than the rest of it. So usually I can get it, a couple of harvests. Oh, damn it! Where did I put those? Here, a couple of harvests before the veggies and the oranges. We need to take a shower. We got 0.3 body radiation. I think we had a radiation storm or a fog at one point when I was working on the ship, so that's where that came from. Oh, either that or it came from standing next to the thrusters when I was trying to figure it out on the ship. Okay, so let's go ahead and load up the Stingray. This is going to be the maiden voyage of the newly retrofitted Horizon. Gotta get nice and lined up here. There we go. Okay, inside of here I'm going to cut the power entirely because I don't think I have anything in the refrigerator. We got some ungrouped stuff in here too. Don't have any custom switches, so we should be fine. Let's just double check. And oh, I do have stuff in the fridge. Okay, we should transfer this to the Horizons fridge then. And let's actually eat a pizza. Yum yum. I'm glad I checked that, or we might have lost that food, which would have been terrible. All right, let's get our sensors turned back on. We want sensors, we want signals. We'll turn thrusters on when we're ready to leave. And how are we doing in here? Oh, we're really low on fuel in here. So let's pull some fuel from the base. Right here. Overflow. And just get this guy topped off. He should, they should, it should. Man, I got a lot of crap in here. We need to go sell some stuff too. We're not gonna do that in this episode, but we do need to get that done. Let's move the big fuel over to the horizon. And I think we're okay. We'll just leave the rest of that the way it is. Oh man, that's loud. It's so loud. All right. I think we're ready to go. So the last thing we're going to do before we take off is we're going to change into our heavy armor and put an EVA boost on. Do I want to do heavy armor? We've got 77 rockets. Yeah, well, I mean, we've got enough. We've got enough stuff to actually do a POI if we wanted to take a POI on the moon. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's put our heavy armor on. The problem with our heavy armor is it's going to cause us to consume food much more quickly, but is what it is. So we're going to need to mobility. Let's put the EVA in place of the mobility. I'm sorry, in place of the booster. If we end up actually doing a POI. Yeah, we're gonna have to watch our armor because it's not in really good shape at the moment. But you don't ever want to repair armor until it's pretty much all the way worn out, because you have a limited number of times that you can repair it. Steel blocks. Let's put that in just overflow, I guess, for now. Okay, so we've got portable O2, we're good. We've got charges, we've got ammunition. And so I think we're in good shape. Let's get this back down on our toolbar. Just move everything else over. Make sure everybody's loaded. We got health packs. We got food. I think we're ready to go. Hopefully I'm not forgetting something. I probably am. Well, hopefully not. Okay, let's go to the moon, guys.